Hey y'all, how's it going? I didn't bring the intro today. I was a little bit late. Mama C had to have me run some errands, so I just got in the house about 10 minutes ago. My I thought I was charging my laptop, and I wasn't. So plug-in wasn't in, so I had to get a quick little charge. And the red light's on now, but it's on charge, so hopefully it'll charge up during the live. And yes, Sandra Lee, this happened in Knoxville, Tennessee. Joel guy um, murdered his parents, and and it was brutal. I mean, it was very brutal. Um, he he dismembered them. He had a whole plan written down in a notebook um, of what he was going to do, why he was doing it, and he put that notebook in a backpack. Um, Stabbed his father over 40 times. Stabbed his mother over 30 times. Hello, April. Four Sakes Alive. E squared. How you guys doing? Sandra Lee, how are you? But you know, I mean, that was brutal enough, stabbing them, and then he dismembered them. You remember the guy? Yeah, yeah. And I mean, it wasn't that long ago. A couple years. I'll look at the years here in a minute, but and he carried out this plan, um, but he left the home and he was going to return and finish cleaning up the crime scene. He had his mother's head in a pot on the stove in some kind of concoction to dissolve it, boiling. Um, and yeah, but while he was gone to do whatever he needed to do, oh no, I gotta go back. I'll do that. You haven't missed much. We just literally just started. Who knows? Mom of two, how are you? But and my camera, when I turned my laptop on, my camera's not working. It wasn't working. Let me. So having technical issues, but the camera's not working. So that's why I'm not on screen. That's why you got my avatar. Um, hey, Alabama girl, coffee talk with shining survivors. How are you doing? Hi, Dusty. It's good to have you all. We're talking about Joel Guy Jr., Joel Michael Guy Jr. Um, and I listened, like this trial is on, available to watch the whole thing. Um, and we're going to watch a little bit here and there and talk about it, but just unbelievable um, what he's, you know, this incredible craziness that he did. Um, and I got to give credit to, they're not in here right now, I don't think, but 19 Thumper 92 um, told me to check this case out, and it's a whopper. It's a whopper. Um, and I think the guy had some kind of psychotic break. I mean, it's financially motivated because he was planning on getting a $500,000 life insurance policy, and the parents had recently told him, "Hey, we're going to uh, make you grow up. You've got to start paying some bills, young man. You know, mom and dad can't support you all the time for the rest of your life. You're going to have to, you know, support yourself. Well, he didn't like that. Like, he didn't like it at all, I guess. Um, but it blows me away. Um, I've got a little testimony queued up. If you guys want to watch some of it, I think it's his former roommate. And I was just watching it, trying to look at some of the trial. Um, yeah, I'm getting some more percentage on my battery now, so plugged in. I feel like an idiot. I plugged in the wrong thing. Um, yeah, it's. I mean, you can Google Joel Guy Jr. and there's plenty of stuff to look at. Plenty of stuff to look at. But I'm no expert on it. I just started looking at it myself. Um, we're gonna learn it together. We're gonna talk about it together. It's kind of what we do here at the stand. We um, converse and get people's opinions, and nobody has a wrong opinion. There you are, Thumper. I was just telling everybody that giving you credit for turning me on to this case, I guess. This guy is, you know, it, it's a it's definitely worth checking out if you're intrigued by this kind of thing. And most of the true crime community is. I mean, this is definitely yeah, it's wild, ain't it, Thumper? I mean, it's just wild. um this guy was mad at his parents, it seemed, because they were going to make him start paying his own bills. Hey, United for Survivors, Chaotic Beauty and Crime, welcome. um it is very twisted, very twisted. um I got new meds, if you can even believe my brain fog worse. Yeah, the um I don't remember much about it. But apparently a few days ago I had a pretty bad brain fog episode. I don't know. Mama C told me about it. Like I don't recall it. Um, she said I was lost and wandered outside, like, you know, just brain fog is real. It's real. And I was explaining my camera's not working. I tried to. My battery was dead on my laptop when I came in, and nothing's working. So I'm like, "Hey, April, just lucky to be able to be coming to you from the avatar, I guess." Um, and I've got my Bluegrass Bulls shirt on. Proud of the Bluegrass Bulls, um, professional basketball team that I coached. Um, we won the Appalachian Division in the NYBL, and we're ranked number one in the nation. There wasn't a tournament, but we finished the season. There was a tournament for the division, but we finished the season. I'm hiding. We finished the season with one loss, and the team that beat us, we beat them worse twice. But anyway, proud of those Bluegrass Bulls. And my point guard is, I think some of you are from the Knoxville area. My point guard is from Maryville, so went to Maryville College, I think. He was a fine young man, and he's doing well in business now. So just I'm proud of all my players. I've got a video that I'm going to release soon. It's pretty much about basketball. It's got a few pictures of my family, but it's a lot about basketball. It's been a big part of my life. But you guys want to, hey, Charlie girl, you guys want to watch a little bit of Joel Guy Jr.'s roommate, his former roommate, testifying in court? There's more than just him, but we'll watch a little bit of his if you guys want to. If you want to see it, put a one in the chat and we'll share it. Oh, Sandra Lee, Maryville's a wonderful college. Good deal, good deal. I'll actually be in Maryville this weekend. My team plays down there, and it's going to be rough. We're playing up. So, all right, we'll share that video. If I can get this to work, I should be able to. All right, first let me cover all our bases here because this is shared from a YouTube channel. Let me check, see what channel it is. It's a way bigger channel than mine, I think. Law and Crime Network. Give them all the credit for this video coverage, which I think probably came from TV anyway. But I'm gonna credit them because that's where I'm streaming from. And this is for educational and discussion purposes. And we will throw this little bad boy up there for just a second. Fair Use Act and good faith. This work contains fair use of copyrighted and non-copyrighted images from the public domain and the web for non-commercial, non-profit educational purposes. Right. So there. All right, let's watch Joel Guy's roommate. See what he's got to say. Yes, I will definitely find the cooking pot. Like, it's overwhelming the things that this man did to his parents. When you get a look at him, though, you'll see him. He's wearing a face shield, heavy set fella, and they'll pan to him sometimes. And I mean, I know your view is already skewed because you know what he did, but I mean, dude looks to me like he might be a few cards short of a deck. I'm feeling really good today, Charlie girl. Thank you very much. I really am. And happy to report that I've been checking my blood sugar and it's coming way down. I'm taking the insulin as I'm supposed to and watching what I eat and doing much better already.
Through 2015.
Did you know the defendant, Joel Michael Guy?
Yes.
How did you know him?
We went to high school together and college together, and we were roommates off and on through that time.
All right. When were you in high school together? What year?
2004 through 2006.
And after 2006,
there he is. Check that dude out.
LSU, is that correct?
Yes.
And did Mr. Guy also enter LSU at that time?
No, he went to George Washington University for, I think, a semester.
Okay. And did he come back to Baton Rouge?
Yes.
When did he come back?
I think at the end of the first semester.
Would that be 2007?
Yeah.
Okay. And did he attend LSU?
Yes.
Actually, April, I think
now,
it's
I take it because you were roommates
because
for some
of
period
that,
of time.
that
You
awful
knew him,
thing that came
and
from
you know his voice.
China.
Yes.
And you could recognize his voice on a telephone call. Is that correct?
Yes.
And did you receive a telephone call from him on or about December the 10th of 2016?
Yes.
And where were you living at that time?
Where I live now, in North Bethesda.
All right. And have you had an opportunity to review that telephone call?
Yes.
And is that your voice on the call?
Yes.
And is it his voice on the call?
Yes.
Brenda, please, at this time, we would to introduce the exhibits 732. We're not going to play the call in its entirety, just portions of it. And we would ask to introduce 731 for identification only because that's the entire call.
I think they're getting ready to play a phone call between his roommate and Joel Guy here. But the things this guy did are just horrible.
No, that's I was
Like
just,
he put his mom's head in a pot and put it on the stove.
And I do 731A for ID, but if you've already marked them, it's okay. Let's do, if you don't mind. Just it keeps me from getting confused.
This guy's been his roommate for years. Like,
so 731.
What do you think this guy thinks?
Actually, what we play.
Does he feel lucky?
731A will just be for ID only. So, folks, you've heard me say this before. Certain exhibits will say that's for ID only. It means that that particular exhibit is an exhibit to the trial, but it's not in evidence. It just helps us keep the record. So what's in evidence is Exhibit 731. You don't need to concern yourself with 731A. All right.
So they're not letting him see the.
Okay.
Yeah, the pot was cooking. It's so crazy, isn't it? Unlike Eastern Kentucky, I think they get their electronics working on the first try.
2. Inmate ID number 117861292.
I bet you're right, Alabama girl. 67. Can you imagine discovering that?
3119. Date 2016. 12:10. Time 1145112. Dialed number 133727445.
Y'all don't use that phone number now.
From station 310.
Just kidding.
4.
I know you guys won't. We got
Press 1 for English. Oprima el
some of the
dos.
most respectful chat. I appreciate every one of you
The
guys.
time
Really.
is 11:45 a.m. Press 1 to place a. Please enter your PIN number.
Exhibit 732 will be the. Thank you. You make it.
After the tone,
We genuinely had a very, very realistic chance of being happy if I got around to doing that.
Yes. Yes.
Only two parties to this conversation.
Correct. Before you,
I turned on the CC for you
folks,
guys.
I want to point something out to you. You'll see words at the bottom. That is a typed transcript. It is not in evidence in this case. What is in evidence is actually the call itself. What the words you're reading are actually something that some administrative assistant sat down and listened to and typed it up. And it's what the lawyers think is being said, and it's there to help you follow along. But I want to be clear that those words are not in evidence. So if you hear something different on that call than what you see typed, you're to disregard what you see is typed there and go with what your ears are telling you, because that's actually the evidence. All right, John, you may continue.
Well, I've pretty much fucked everything up. I don't really have much of a chance of being happy anymore. But you do. You do. Eventually you're going to need some bucking. And you claim that I haven't been an albatross or anything before, but I certainly would be now. If we had freaking prison. On that basis, I think you should probably just sort of consider me dead and move on with your life. So I'm not going to try to initiate any more contact with you beyond sort of that's pretty much the end of my outburst. So there you go.
Okay. I don't know what to say.
I mean, I don't know that there is anything to say. I'm in here, and there's
I don't think he feels any remorse, Thumper.
blah, blah, blah. How could you, I mean, just have stream of consciousness about anything and everything related or not to anything I just said. I just did word vomit at you just now. So, I mean, word vomit at something real.
It hurts my heart. All of it. And I mean, I've been my best friend for my entire adult life. I don't know that would ever have changed regardless of what you did.
Like it wasn't news.
1 minute remaining.
Oh, shit.
Oh, shit.
Can you write more time?
I mean, I'm not fully surprised. I don't know. Yeah.
Hey,
I don't
Gwen.
know what to say.
Aaron.
All of that aside, I am angry and lost and confused and disappointed and upset and mourning you like your day, even though I'm talking to you on the phone and I don't. It's taking everything I have to process and maintain my sanity.
I mean, that is the biggest thing here is that I think that you all the time. You were the only good thing in my life. All the crap in my apartment. You're the only thing on this?
And there was a second call right after that. A second.
Okay, let's pause and talk about that phone call for a minute. First thing is, you know, you understand right away that they're more than roommates. Yes, E squared. Yes, they, you know, and the dude starts tearing up and crying like he's mourning him, like he's dead, and you know, and Joel Guy told him earlier in the call, you know, you should go ahead and, you know, treat this as if I'm dead. I screwed up. He said the F word, but you know, I F things up. And this guy, his roommate, lover, whatever, seems to me like he would take him back in a heartbeat, no questions asked, and you know, pull the Vicky White, right? Like, yes, you guys please remember E squared in your prayers. You know, she's a terrific person and has always been there for me and offering words of advice and prayers. And she's going in for surgery, and hopefully it goes well. And they do the smaller surgery instead of having, you know, the more invasive. You're welcome. You know, she's you know, first one to, you know, send up prayers for everybody when somebody else is sick or in need. So now this I mean, what do you guys think about the roommate? Like, do you feel like, did he give you that impression of like you know, I know you just chopped up your parents, old buddy, but I love you so much. You know, I'm just gonna miss you so much. Like, not how could you possibly do that? You're not the man I know. You're not the person I know. Like, he actually said he wasn't really surprised, right? So I don't know, it definitely doesn't sound like he was complicit or, knew what was going to happen or anything of that nature, but it sure didn't seem to bother him. Like, he's more concerned about losing his friend. And that's what we'll say, because that's what he said, but his best friend all his life. Oh, I've got some messages. It's probably basketball messages. Let me see. Yeah, it's my buddies. But just that kind of, yeah, I'm not fully surprised. Like, well, I had a feeling you might go chop your parents up and try to dissolve their bodies for the insurance money. Had to see something wrong with him, and also, yeah, he seemed like he knew what he was capable of, waiting for it to happen. I agree, April. And he was comfortable enough to know or believed in their friendship or their affection for each other enough to feel comfortable that it wouldn't be him. Do you think, I'll go ahead and tell you, I don't. But do you think it's fully financially motivated? Like, they told him he's going to have to start paying his own bills. They told him, well, they didn't tell him, but he stood to get a $500,000 life insurance policy, so $500,000. Do you think it was financially motivated completely, or was there some kind of anger there with the parents, like, or hatred? Like, I couldn't imagine stabbing anybody 40 times. He stabbed his dad more than 40 times, stabbed his mother more than 30 times. I mean, that's, let me throw this up here for you guys real quick. Yeah, I think he has some mental issues going for sure. I don't think a sane person, or mentally healthy person could pull off such a crime. Um, you know, I think most of you were here. We went over the Ronnie King stuff and how he was, how he was taken out of this world with duct tape over his nose and duct tape over his mouth and then finally shot. But I don't know, I think this is way more sick than that. It is reminiscent of Dahmer, Sandra Lee, but Dahmer, I mean, he was saving those. I don't mean to laugh, but like, he was saving those body parts to eat, right? Jeffrey Dahmer was eating his victims, correct? I think so. Maybe I'm wrong, but yeah. Oh, it's okay, Sandy. How are you? Yeah, we just we heard a phone call between him and his roommate, which turns out to sound like much more than a roommate. And the most twisted thing the roommate actually said in the call was, "I'm not fully surprised." Like, he knew he was capable or might be thinking of doing that. April, I don't see it either. Like, other than protecting my family, I don't understand it. Like I said, I've been in quite a few fights in my life, but and I won most of them. But if there is a winner in a fight, which I really don't, in my age time now, I don't believe you win a fight. But definitely I suffered less of the damage, but I couldn't sleep after a fight like that, hurting somebody, busting their nose, breaking their nose, cut over their eye, something like it bothers me. It bothered me then, and sometimes I still think about them. Just simple fist fight. Back one of the most gory fist fights I ever got in my life. I was 16 years old. Um, there is no right and wrong. I wasn't right. He wasn't right. But the fight turned out bloody and bad. Broken bones, stitches, with permanent scarring, and I feel bad about it still to this day. I don't see how anybody hurts somebody like that, especially their parents. I say especially their parents, like it's worse, but is it worse? I mean, snuffing anybody out that way and cutting them up and putting their head. Oh, thank you, Shay. I appreciate that so much. I appreciate that. Says, thank you for all your time researching this case and bringing us content that we're interested in. You never failed us. Thank you, Shay. I really do appreciate that. But this guy's got deep-rooted hate, right? Like deep-rooted hate. Have you seen any of this, Banner B, the Joel guy stuff, like the videos? We just went over, his roommate / best friend, seemed like more than that too, but was on the witness stand, and you haven't seen him at all. Well, like they played a phone call while he was in jail speaking to the roommate, and the roommate seemed like he actually said, I'm not fully surprised, and then was showing compassion. He started crying that he's gonna never get to hold him and love him again. Seemed that he didn't say I'm not gonna get to hold you, but he was mourning him as if he were dead, and he was crying. No, Leslie, that's not Leslie B's neighbor. I'll let her answer that though. But I will let you guys know. Oh, and I didn't even see you come in, Leslie B. How are you? That Saturday, and I hope it's not too late for Leslie B Saturday, but at 10 p.m., and I had to go on a little late because I'm going to be out of town coaching during the daytime. But Saturday, we're going to go over Damon Stevens. And what he did was pretty similar. As some people say, similar. Just trying to make light of it a little bit. But yeah, Saturday, 10 p.m., we're going to talk in detail about Damon Stevens, and Leslie is going to, let us know about, spending all that time as a neighbor. And I've got my other friend who's a police dispatcher who's was friends with him. And he's going to come on panel too. So it'll be really, really good. He did go to trial. At first, he was deemed incompetent to stand trial. But then later on, and he thought pod people were, you know, he thought his parents were pod people, whatever that is. We're gonna look into it deeper. I'm sure Leslie's got lots of info, and my buddy Clark will have a lot of info too. Like I said, they were good friends. You know, kind of partied together or whatever. But let's back to Joel Guy for now. I'm gonna go ahead and play a little bit more of his. Yes, I'm gonna try to get some of that footage. E squared. That footage may actually that may have predated the DVD days. That may be a actual transcript type thing. I think it was it 2008 or somewhere in there when he finally stood trial. Murders, I think, were 2002. So yeah. What are you doing, Mama?
Letting these two dogs out.
Let them on the porch.
Yeah, she won't stay long. She'll come over.
Mama C's in the room. I know my camera ain't working.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Try it again. No, I better not try it again in case it don't work. Didn't work. I tried it again.
It's out there for a while.
Okay, Dusty. Thank you for stopping in, and yeah, it's a tough one for sure.
Leave this door open.
Yeah, you can.
Let some cold air in.
Sure, it's fine. Thank you for stopping in, Dusty, and you know, we'll get back to something else soon. I know it's this one's very disgusting, and it's gonna get worse. It's gonna get worse. Okay. Yes, it's on Law and Crime. That's where we're sharing it from, Sandra Lee. That's where I'm sharing the video from, actually. So let's watch a little bit more, and then we'll mute and talk about it.
Yes.
Publish that same conversation.
Okay.
Yeah, God. Prepaid went through August, so it's not like the manager's going to be throwing my shit on the street anytime soon.
Man, how did you manage that? That's a lot of money.
Yeah. One of the last things I did was pay that. So.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. McCracken. Pass the witness.
Cross-examination.
If that Tennessee mask don't make you sick, I don't know what will. Just kidding. No, I'm not. Yes, I am. Maybe.
I'm not sure I heard. Where do you work? What do you do?
I do vaccine research for the Army.
And how long, where are you
Yeah,
employed?
sorry, we weren't able to hear that. Can you
Oh,
answer that? Speak
sorry.
up a little.
I do vaccine research for the Army.
And where are you employed?
City or place?
Place, the entity.
Walter Reed Army Institute of Research.
And how long have you been there?
Since 2015,
And what is your educational background? What degree do you hold?
PhD,
In,
veterinary and biomedical sciences.
let me back up a little bit. You said you first met Joel when you were in high school, is that right?
Correct.
And you both were attending a boarding school, is that right?
Correct.
What was the name of that school?
Louisiana School for Math, Science, and the Arts.
And it was for exceptional students, right?
Correct.
And that was somewhere around 2005, 2006. Do I have that right?
Correct.
And so you have known, and you left you moved away from Baton Rouge to Maryland in 2015.
15.
Okay. So
Sure.
So you knew him for a total of about 10 years or so.
Yes.
And for a period of time when you were in high school, you were his roommate.
Yes.
And then you got back together. You graduated. Let me see, you went to Baton Rouge a year before he did. Is that correct?
I think it was only one semester, but I couldn't
Okay.
be sure.
And that was the semester he went to GW? Is that
Yes.
right? Okay. And then after that semester, he moved back to the same apartment complex you were
Yes.
in Baton Rouge. And you shortly after that, your roommate left.
I wonder why they ask
to
these type of
Greece, I
questions,
believe.
just to
Yes.
establish how
And
long the
two of
relationship.
You and Joel moved in together.
Yes.
So probably, is it fair to say that maybe for at least half of that 10 years, you've been his roommate?
Sure.
Know him pretty well.
Yeah.
I think you described him as your best friend during that period of time.
Yes.
Yes, this is a live stream on the stand, but the trial video is from 2016. I
His
think.
parents lived in Luling. Is that right?
Or,
Luling,
yeah,
Louisiana?
I think.
Yes.
How far is Luling from Baton Rouge?
About an hour, maybe.
And during that 10-year period of time, did you ever meet his father?
No.
And during that same 10-year period of time, did you meet his mother?
Once.
And did you have any interactions with her for that 10 years other than that one time?
No.
And you had no interactions with his father?
Correct.
Welcome in,
And am I
Shauna
correct?
Mac. Shauna
You didn't
Mock.
even know he had sisters.
Almost said Mac.
So at no time when you guys were living in Baton Rouge, did any of the family come and visit?
Correct.
And did you ever see mail come to the apartment from any of the family members?
No.
Presents?
No.
Phone calls?
He would get calls from his mother.
All right. Anybody but his mother?
I'm not aware of them.
All right.
Oh, that's Joel Guy's lawyer. He's trying to make the family look like they didn't care about him, right? That still doesn't excuse chopping them up, old
You
buddy.
described Joel as being socially awkward. Is that accurate?
Yes.
And as you, I think you've described him as he got older after high school, he became more and more isolated and withdrawn.
Yes.
And he would go into his room at time for days. Is that right?
Yes.
And he would kind of escape on his computer. Is that right?
Yes.
And I think you said that he spent an awful lot of time on the internet and YouTube and that sort of thing.
Yes.
And you said, I believe you've stated that there were weeks where you would just barely see him at all.
Right.
And did you know him to have any friends?
When we were in high school and early college.
And did you see in the later years, at least the last 3 or 4 years that you were together in Baton Rouge, did you see that tail off?
Yes.
By the time you left Baton Rouge, would you say that he had any friends at all?
No.
So was he socially interacting with anyone but you?
No.
And your interactions with him were becoming.
Yeah, he had long hair and I think he's got a slick back, maybe even cut right there. But
I want to ask you a little bit. During the period of time that you knew him, did you know that he regularly? Did you know him?
okay,
regularly
United for
go
Survivors,
home
thanks for coming
Thanksgiving?
in.
Yes.
Have a good
And
night.
I believe you said that he would alternate Christmas.
Yes.
And as far as you knew or remember, those were the only times that he would go home.
Yeah. He went to Luling for New Year's once, I think. But yes.
Okay. And you did know that he was going to Thanksgiving. He was going home for Thanksgiving in 2016, right?
Yes.
And let me see.
Right, it's hard to get rid of that look, right?
His parents
That-
moved from
that-
Luling
that
to Knoxville.
Stank eye or whatever. Like,
Do you know the year that they moved?
yeah, and he still looks, you know,
But you know that in
like he's
2016
ready to do what he already
they were
did.
in Knoxville,
Yes.
and you knew that he was going to Knoxville for Thanksgiving.
Yes.
In fact, he reached out to you. He contacted you from Knoxville.
I agree 100%. Sandy says.
Yes.
May I have just a moment, please?
Yeah, those eyes are wild. Wonder what's going on there.
Mr. Craig, thank you.
Hmm. That's interesting. Let's try to skate by this part and see if we can get to where. Well, they had their bench conference off to the side, huh?
All right, John, your argument.
My argument is that the defense is
Definitely evil, Danny Mitchell. Definitely.
Concerning
Welcome
whether or
in.
not Mr. Guy's parents essentially abandoned him and his family ignored him, and he was isolated and nobody sent him packages or sent him letters. When the state has multiple witnesses who could testify that it was Mr. Guy's choice to isolate himself from his family, that in fact we have received information from Lisa Guy's brother that the defendant's relatives in Louisiana were not even permitted to know where he lived. He didn't want any interaction with his family. His sisters did not choose to not have a relationship with him. He didn't want a relationship with them. And while it's true that he
Yes, the guy with the face
boarding
shield
school,
is Joel
maybe
Guy Jr.
Further proof would be, if it was relevant at all, that it was a 2-year program and that he was there by choice. So to construe this as somebody who was abandoned by his family is a real stretch. I'm kind of concerned because, the only issue for this witness was to authenticate this telephone call, and I don't want to stray into character evidence, but I think they've raised it. So I would like to be able to ask Mr. McCracken questions about whether or not Mr. Guy's parents supported him, whether or not they provided him with financial support, and whether or not he, during part of this conversation on December the 12th, expressed surprise that he didn't know the defendant had sisters. The defendant had never told him he had sisters, despite the fact that they had known each other for at least 10 years. And the only way that Mr. McCracken found out about that was when he read the media in the paper. And the surprise and
Allegedly,
shock
yes.
and dismay in his voice struck me at the time. He was incredulous that he didn't know this about somebody that he had lived with. So to construe this situation as something where the defendant was abandoned by his family is a gross mischaracterization of really what was going on. Again, I don't want to be calling in witnesses just to talk about extraneous things that really stray from the real issue here. But I do think that at a minimum, I should be able to ask Mr. McCracken about his knowledge of his family and, the level of care and support that his mother provided for him.
Yes, he
Mr.
was
Stevens would like
convicted.
to be heard on that issue.
Well, her interpretation of what Mr. McCracken's answers mean, or her interpretations of what they mean. The fact is, he lived with him for 10 years and he never saw communication come in from the family member. What that means, whether he drove them away or whether the family chose to stay away, is subject to her interpretation of what it was. There's nothing that he said that was inaccurate or false in terms of the nature of the relationship and what he knew about his mother and what he knew about his father and how many times he saw the two of them over a 10-year period and whether he knew that he had sisters or not. I mean, that's all accurate information, and what she does with that, she does with that.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. I think that it is a proper grounds for redirect examination to explore his personal knowledge about whether or not his mother, his being the defendant, his defendant's mother was supporting him, and if he knew why they weren't in closer contact, if he knew that he had sisters or not. So I think you can explore with Mr. McCracken his personal knowledge, if he has any, and then if you want to
Yes,
present other
this
witnesses,
happened
and,
in Knoxville.
It's your choice.
Hey, not
John,
my
if you
monkey,
want to
how are you?
pursue this issue.
It is irrelevant, completely irrelevant.
And there's nothing
Let's pause it right here for a
terrible
minute.
in that phone call. I just think a lot of it's irrelevant.
Let's talk about it. Like, how in the world? Okay, for one, his parents, his mom, completely financially supported him, paid his bills. That's not what I would call abandonment at all. You know, and you heard him say that was his choice. He didn't want family to come visit. He didn't want to hear from his family, just his mom. Just his mom who paying all the bills. That's right, E-Square. They waste so much time like on junk that's not going to matter. For one, she could be the worst mother in the world, right? She could be, not paying his bills, not sending him any money, not calling him. He's a grown ass man. She could be like, go get a job, which she eventually did. But the whole time. But she wasn't. She was, Danny. She was enabler. She was paying his bills. She was making life comfortable, letting him do what he wanted to do. That doesn't, let's say she's the opposite. That doesn't give him the right to go cut them up, stab them to death, and then cut them to pieces and try to dissolve their body. No matter what, no matter how mean they could have been, or, how much abandonment could have came, there's nothing in the world that would, earn that kind of torture. I guess there could be still not that kind of torture, but, if there was, if he was some kind of victim, but that's not what they're saying. They're not saying anything about that. They're saying that his family didn't want to have nothing to do with him. Yeah, he had it all planned out in a notebook in a backpack that he left at the scene of the crime. Like, he meticulously planned this out and may have gotten away with it if somebody hadn't called in a wellness check on the parents. Cops show up while he's gone, and when he comes back, guess who's in the house? 5-0, Po-Po. Yeah, they could have used some of that stuff. Does Tennessee have the death penalty? Because, yeah, Paul, he didn't get the death penalty, but, if that's not a death penalty case, what is? Like, if that case isn't death penalty material, what is? A betrayal of family so bad, the two people responsible for the breath you take, for you being on this earth, and you stab them together almost 80 times. 40-something for dad, 30-something for mom. He asked for the death penalty. That may be why. That may be why they didn't pursue it. Yeah, and then cook them, right? Like, it doesn't get more death penalty than that. Not to me. At least the guy will never see the light of day, right? At least he's never going to hurt another family member. And I'm just going to be honest with you. And, you know, and I'm not talking bully talk. I'm not talking, you know, big bad man talk or nothing like that. But looking at that dude right there, like, he's not going to have a good time in prison. He's not going to be head honcho, if you know what I mean. So he won't be taking any lives in prison. Makes me wonder if I've ever walked right past a murderer. Sadly, more than likely, hey, country girl, probably. You know, like, you just don't know. You just don't know. Oh, thank you, Chaotic Beauty and Crime. Chaotic Beauty and Crime has a video dropping tonight at 12 o'clock. You guys check that out. It's Friday the 13th. You can tell them what it is if you want. I'll highlight, put it on screen. That's right, Bannerby. What's up with our justice system making excuses and sympathizing with evil murderers and such lately? You're hearing it a lot. And it's almost like, you know, it's almost like we went soft, right? Like, and honestly, if you look at things in the country now as opposed to 10 years ago and opposed to 20 years ago, it's much softer. And I mean, I'm talking about a lot of things. You know, as a basketball coach, and, you know, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings here, but I'm not a big fan of giving a trophy to every single player. Championship team, runner up, yes, give them a trophy. Here you go. Video dropping at midnight. You guys check that out. It's all about Friday the 13th, and which, if you didn't know, tomorrow is Friday the 13th. But, you know, like I was saying, like, we teach them at a young age that, you're okay. You know, hey, you're just as good as the guys. You know, your team that didn't win a game, you're going to get the same trophy as the team that went undefeated and worked hard, practiced more, put in, you know, more effort and got better. You know, you're going to get the same trophy. I don't agree with that. I think it makes their kids soft. And, you know, hopefully the kids that are going through the system and playing sports are not the ones committing these heinous crimes. But, and I think, honestly, let me talk about sports for just a minute. I think, you know, kids who do play sports, and not just sports, there's other things. There's, you know, cheerleading, gymnastics, which is a sport, but, you know, there's plenty of things that are organized, not just sports, to where kids can work hard and get better at things. It doesn't have to just be sports, but that builds character. And kids with character become adults with character for the most part. How do we teach our kids to be good losers if we make all of them winners? Right. And, you know, one of the first things well, not one of the first things. One of the most important things in sports is, you have to know how to take a loss. Now I'm not okay with losing. I'm not saying, hey, we're going to go out there and lose so we can learn a lesson. But you have to be able, to turn that loss into a learning experience. In basketball, we got out rebounded. So what we're going to do this week, we're going to work on boxing out. Putting your rear end into somebody's waist and getting them out of the paint. We're going to get the rebounds. We're not going to be out rebounded anymore. Turnovers. Every time you give the other team the ball is an extra possession for them and one taken away from you. Possibly 4 to 6 point swing every time you do it. Turnovers are huge. What do? We work on taking care of the basketball. Yeah, Chaotic Beauty and Crime has her video dropping at 12 a.m. It's Friday the 13th video. Check it out. I'm sure it will be awesome. She's a very good creator and really puts in a ton of research within the true crime community. If there's somebody who does more research, I don't know. I would like to see it. You're welcome. But yeah, this guy, I would think it sounds like to me had handed to him all his life, right? Now I'm not blaming his parents for him murdering them. That's ridiculous. But sounds like he never had to work for anything. He probably didn't have much character. There's definitely some issues going on within the family there, that they don't talk. He didn't even know he had some sisters. Like, come on now. But that doesn't excuse what he did. It's just, oh, thank you, country girl. Thank you. We have the order in. We have not paid for them yet, though. Let's see. You have to feel loss to feel victory of a win. You have to feel the pain. It hurts to lose. You have to feel heartache to know what love feels like. You need a rainy day to enjoy a beautiful sunshiny day. Correct. All the above. It's country girl, you can send it Cash App. Let me see. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. That's a good question. Alabama girl. I don't think so. I think he was pampered. Sounds to me like the guy was pampered, right? Entitlement. I see that, not my monkey. Butterfly Angel, I'm talking about past murderers. What are we talking about? And that's something we're going to do here. We're going to keep going over some cases that are just, unexplained or unexplainable. But yeah, she did too, Thumper. She went right there. Oh. The lawyers were doing their job on defending him. I bet they hated that job. I wonder and I know that there's some who have a heart and really it really bothers them, and have a conscience. But do you think there's lawyers who don't care, and they really would hang their hat on, getting that guy a mild sentence, or even possibly having him walk free, which wasn't going to happen? But do you think there's lawyers who do that? Yes. One in the chat for yes, and two in the chat if you think they're all pretty sickened by things like that. And I do too, E squared. A lot of it. I think that happens a lot. The excitement of winning overpowers our morals. Leslie, I don't think I could be a defense attorney either. I don't. And I think a lot of times they know. Like, I think a lot of times the client walks in, says, okay, I did this. What are you going to do to get me off? Just watching the O.J. Simpson thing the other day that I watched, and those lawyers, those attorneys, especially the younger one, he was a very young African American attorney, and it wasn't Johnny Cochran, but the other guy. He was doing most of the talking. He was just flat out bragging about all the things they did and lied about. Average person said, or the average person walks by 16 murderers in their lifetime. Oh, wow. Yeah. He never gave up. He never gave up trying to get that money, right? Never gave up trying to get that money. Oh, thank you, country girl. I appreciate that. I just got a text. Thank you so much. Yeah, and what's he gonna do with that money? All right, put it on his books. I think there's a limit in most prisons to what can be put on books. Am I right or wrong about that? Isn't there a cap of how much a prisoner can have in most prisons, like on their books? Yeah, now that's a different thing, Gwen. I think if I thought a person was innocent for real, then and I was an attorney, then I would go to bat for them and do everything in my power to try to get them off. I'm just gonna tell you, watching the Shelby Shell trial, like seeing it unfold, seeing what the defense said, and now seeing what was said in their discovery and all that stuff, like they were dishonest, flat out dishonest, and they're not held accountable. They can't get in trouble for perjury because everything they said was a question. Could it be? Could this happen? Did that happen? You miss sports? Yeah, it's I dread the day when I really hang it up. And this is going to be definitely my last season of AAU ball. This is and it's tough. It's tough. we Sunday, if we make it, in deep enough into the tournament part, we're going to be playing one of my former players, at least one of them. And I love the kid so much, it's going to hurt so bad. Just win, lose, or draw. I just don't, I don't like playing my former players. I hate it. I feel like I'm, the loser in a custody battle or something. I know that's, that bad comparison or whatever, but that's really how I feel. It bothers me. Let's see. Vanderbeek said, if a lawyer knows their client is guilty because the client admits it or the lawyer finds solid proof, they still have to defend, but they can't lie to a jury or judge. So they kind of make it obvious. Yeah. And that's what I like so much about my friend. That's the Commonwealth attorney. Like he's, one of the most morally sound, ethical person I've ever known. Like he's just solid man. And he used to be a defense attorney. There is no limit, but any amount in excess of 10,000, how much money can an inmate have on their books is subject to IRS reporting requirements. Oh, that is interesting. Did you see they found that? See, Andrew says, did you see that they found out who killed the two ladies in Moab? No, I didn't see that. Committed suicide. Yeah, I guess that would be weird, huh? So like something happened to the inmate, then does that money go to the state, I guess, or government? Who knows? Family get it? I don't know. One point, Chris Watts had a few thousand in his account. Remember. But this and we're gonna have, a couple more days. We're gonna go over more of the Joel Guy, and I will put it in the description and title of the live stream that, for people who don't want to hear or see the details of what happened, so they won't have to hear any of it if they choose not to. But yeah, we're going to go over in detail just what this man did. For me, it starts right at the beginning, like with stabbing his parents. How do you do that? I mean, I just couldn't imagine, like, the sound or feeling of penetrating skin and all that. I just can't even imagine it. Especially, like, your parents. I'll be the first to tell you, me and my dad, we didn't have a good relationship. Not at all. Would I stab him? No, never. Never, ever. It is a cold, black heart. I think they were in bed, if I'm not mistaken. Thumper, is that right? Or do you know? I think maybe they were in bed. We will find out for sure. I'm gonna go over it, and I'm gonna get the rundown, and we'll talk about it in detail. But yeah, I mean that's even like again talking about OJ. My whole thing was, well, this Ron Goldman, and I was looking for a reason for OJ not to be guilty, right? Like, I'm a sports guy. OJ Simpson was a sports hero. I'm looking for a reason for OJ not to be guilty. I don't want him to be guilty. I do think he's guilty. I thought he was guilty originally too. I just didn't want him to be, you know. But and I thought to myself, if Ron Goldman was this martial arts expert that everybody's talking about, he had all these, this background and karate and all that, and I'm big on karate for discipline, for an actual fighting. It's another story we'll talk about some other time. But he killed him and Nicole. So, and it was brutal, and it was multiple stab wounds, and it was pretty disgusting too. The crime scene was awful. The pictures were awful, and you wonder how in the world did a 46-year-old man, I think he was 46-year-old man with arthritis do that to two people. And then you think maybe he had already finished, with Nicole, and then Mr. Goldman comes around the corner. Hey, what's going on? What's this noise? Killed dad first, and mom came home from the grocery store, and he killed her. Okay. Wow. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. E squared, like, especially if you got Ron Goldman first, right? Like, Nicole should have bolted. Just, you never know what the actual situation is. With the technology the way it's going, these questions that we have now and in the past may be answered someday with well, not the old stuff, but the cameras are everywhere now. So I'm going to Joel Guy takes the stand, I believe, right, in his own defense. I'm gonna cue that up for tomorrow. A lot of people think OJ's son, Jason, I think is his name, was involved. That's very possible. But I'm going to queue up this. I'm going to look up some more testimony and have it ready and on cue so we can go over it in detail. I want to hear or read the, how the prosecution explained in their closing arguments, maybe, that this happened. That'll be interesting. But we will try to get that all in tomorrow. We'll start a little earlier. We'll start at 8 p.m. and hopefully finish Joel Guy. Saturday, I was talking a little bit about O.J. Simpson. With the killing Ron Goldman, And I think E Squared might be onto something. Ron Goldman may have walked up, tried to be a hero, and didn't realize OJ had a knife. Now, looking at, like the evidence, the glove that was ripped off OJ's hand, that had his blood, Nicole's blood, and Goldman's blood all on it, that the defense made it look like Mark Furman was such a racist that he planted the glove. Like, they gave reasonable doubt, right? That's all it takes. Yes, those photos are online. If you want to check them out, look them up. But yes, only do that if you have a strong stomach and you are prepared to see, disgusting things. Disgusting things. All right, Alabama girl. We're about to sign off. But tomorrow we'll start at 8, and hopefully we may go as long as 10:30, 11 o'clock. We're going to talk a lot about Joel Guy and preview Saturday's live stream. We'll have Leslie B and my friend Clark on the panel, and they knew Damon Stevens. That's another case. Damon Stevens, Harlan, Kentucky. You want to go ahead and look that up. It's pretty wild too. But that's what we're going to go on. Yeah, I do think adrenaline from anger, and once he got started, it's probably blacked out or whatever, and just saw red. But still, wow. But appreciate you guys being in chat tonight and keeping me moving and keeping the chat moving. As always, you were wonderful. I'm going to work on a couple of videos and release too. Check those out. Hit the like button. Be sure and check out Chaotic Beauty and Crime at 12 o'clock and support her. And let's check this Friday the 13th video out. I should be there if nothing comes up, if I don't fall asleep. So you guys have a wonderful night. Thank you for your support. And until tomorrow, I'm Jimbo, coming to you live from the stand.